I knew that this was my calling, and had I not went to jail and went through that adversity, I would have never met the person that brought me into this mortgage business.
Hey, make sure you check us out at the realestateandchillpodcast.com. Buy your real estate merch now. Real estate merch with swag, a brand for hustlers only. Let's go!
Welcome back to the newest episode of the Real Estate and Chill Podcast. I'm your host, James Strattery, here for all your residential financial needs, here with
Kevin Iglesias, associate real estate broker, and we're back with another $1 million episode. If you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button, the like button, and share. It's free.
Yes, and turn on notifications. Today in the building, we have the Mortgage Master, my friend who I've known for the past, I don't even know how long, like 4 months. He's taking over Facebook for first-time homebuyers, has 11 groups, has multiple investment properties. Sheesh. He can sell like nobody else. My man, Dimitri, welcome.
Thank you so much. I love the warm introduction. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here, so I really appreciate you guys taking some time out. And yeah, I love it. I love the support, and I see what you both are doing, and that's exactly the reason why I wanted to come on and collaborate and spend some time with you guys.
No, I appreciate it. Dimitri, introduce yourself a little bit.
So my name is, like you guys had mentioned, my name is Dimitri Kievsky. I've been in the business for 17 years. I come from Ukraine, Kiev, specifically Kiev, Ukraine. I halted here in '86 after Chernobyl. We came here to New York. My mother was 20 when she had me. She was 16 when she had me, 20 when we came to America, and we started our journey homeless. For the first 8 months, we were homeless, and that was the first chapter of my book. So going through the adversities throughout my life, I became a mortgage banker in hopes to be able to try to provide something different. Work with people that are first-time home buyers, predominantly first-generational wealth people, clients that might need a little bit more TLC, and be able to kind of resonate with my own situation and help people that might be in that same similar situation. Whether it's something that they couldn't apply with other banks, maybe as first-time home buyers, maybe they don't have enough money saved, maybe they just experience homelessness themselves. I was able to resonate with them, and this was almost like my calling. So I entered the mortgage business based on all the adversity that I faced, all the stuff that I saw in my life, and I wanted to make an impact with people moving forward.
Wow. So let's just rewind back, because that's heavy. So you came to the USA around like 3 or 4-ish?
So I was 6 when I came to USA. We went to Italy, Austria, and then finally settled in New York.
Okay. And growing up homeless, that's not easy.
It was actual bait and switch. So when we got to America, we were expecting to be in a 1-bedroom with a couple other families, but it was a bait and switch. There was no apartment when we got here. So the new residence was the Avenue M and Kings Highway in Brooklyn. That's where we spent the first 8 months.
Wow.
That was where we spent our first 8 months. My mother was actually a very famous children's book illustrator in Kiev, but coming here, she had no English. She had no way of being able to communicate. So she got 3 different jobs, trying to make ends meet. So I saw the hustle from my mom. I saw the adversity that we were faced. And I said, later on in life, I'm going to make that change. Obviously, the older I got, the more I was able to remember from my childhood. And I said, I'm changing the entire narrative in regards to how business is done. There's not going to be more bait and switches. There's not going to be any more surprises. We're just going to start helping people. And at the end of the day, it's going to come back twofold. Sounded very cliche at the time, but at this point, I have not made an outbound call to anybody in the last year to even ask them about business. Everybody that calls me is just because they found my information valuable. They found that I might possibly have helped somebody else. At this point, I don't even do any outbound reaching. I don't even take on any new clients. In regards to realtors, referral partners, home buyers, we take them on all day. We help them. But for me, I've gotten to the point where Dimitri just delivers value. For me, that's so crucial. Paycheck to me is very minuscule. I've always been a firm believer of do what you love and the rest will follow. I've somehow created that actual trajectory over the last 17 years. To this day, while I'm on the show right now, after 17 years of being in this business, I have no clue where my next deal is going to come from. And I love that. That to me is amazing. It's amazing.
Yo, he's crazy.
I love it.
You're crazy.
I never want to know my next deal. You know why? Because if God forbid, and I'll tell you why. It sounds crazy. But what if somebody said, D, I'm going to give you 3-4 deals, and now you know exactly where your next deal is coming from? What if that person decides to be an aspiring artist and doesn't want to do real estate anymore? What if all 4 of my referral partners just decide to quit and go to the Bahamas? I don't want to be left with nothing. So I said, if I create as much value as possible, and I do it on this channel, channel, this platform, this program, this training, this class. At one point or another, I'm going to have an influx of people reaching out daily, and now I have control of the buyer. So if I get control of the buyer, chances are I can refer out the buyer's agent, the buyer's attorney, a home inspector, the title company. Like, I literally can give 8, 9 people different deals. So they're going to naturally work with me back. So on one buyer that I help, I'm able to give 9 professionals an opportunity to make money. So what I've really done is create an impact. It's only been the last year that I went very, very heavy with the groups. Obviously, COVID has really helped me with that because people were quarantined, they were home. But at the end of the day, we built a community just based on value. There's no soliciting. I told people, if you guys can find a business card or even any inclination of a call me or DM me, I'll give them $1,000 cash. Every little thing I do is just to provide value, whether it's humor and content together or relative information. But I sit there, I do things that other people wouldn't do. Many lenders right now, and you guys know this, they're looking for a deal right now. They're not going to sit and pre-approve a client for something that might happen in 2 years.
Yeah.
I'll do that just to know that this person has a little bit better feeling knowing that their budget has been kind of reviewed. They're prepared in 2 years to buy a home, but they know their numbers now. And it could be important for people. And a lot of lenders selfishly don't want to work on stuff like that. They are mostly one deal away from a financial catastrophe, which means they're only going to focus on something right now. What can I close today that's going to put food on my family's table? Well, I'm not saying that's not important. How do you build an actual pipeline that's going to last for many years to come, where people will always know your name? And that's what I've been really focused on for the last year, building my personal brand.
I love that. And that's honestly, like, one thing that I think we resonate on is this. I think that a lot of people say, oh, you can't become a home buyer or a homeowner if, like, a lender speaks to them for the first time, right? But I don't think that's always the case, because you might not be ready right now, but in the future, you could be ready. And lining yourself up with the right professionals to help you do that is crucial in those moments. And I think that you and I both share the same thing, where we kind of get a little emotionally attached, and you too, Kevin. Like, we always get so emotionally attached to, you know, people who we're working with, because we hear their stories, we hear what they're going through, and we want to do everything we can do to help them out. So it's good to, you know, see another lender who I work side by side with, you know, have that same thing with me. So
I'm going to drop a quick little bit of a gem. A lot of people in this business, especially real estate agents, especially lenders, they're actually speaking to the wrong client, meaning that client is not ready today. Could you convince somebody to go buy a home? Maybe. But now imagine that financial catastrophe happening for that homeowner. That first of the month, you're going to be cursed out in their head every day. Damn it, Dimitri had to convince me to go ahead and buy a home. This is now because of him. Now it's a very different. They're reaching out to me. So if God forbid something were to happen, at this point, they're not sitting there and saying, well, Dimitri did this. I reached out to Dimitri. What most people forget in this business is home buying is a 10 to 12 year process for mostly every client. And not that nobody should be afraid. We're not spending 10 to 12 years getting clients. From the time that the actual thought comes into your head till the time that you actually go buy a home, 10 to 12 years, and it's a science. The first time it happens is around college age. You see a beautiful home, you go, if I finish school and get a great job, one day I would love to have a house like this. Next time it comes in your head, maybe you're in your mid-20s, your first job, your second job, you say, wow, if I get a raise and I stay at this, I would love to have another house like this. Maybe you pass a house in the summer in the Hamptons. Maybe it's a house in the North Shore, anywhere, right? It's a beautiful house, you just want it. You're not looking to buy it right now, but you want it. The thought process is there. Right. And by your 30s, you start working on down payment, you start working on credit, you start working on how much income you have, and you start to get pre-approved. So if it's a 10-year, 12-year process, in my groups, they can come in there, have a platform which is a safe haven for them, no solicitation, they come in there, they get immense value, and when they're ready, at that point, they reach out to me. But now, because of the size of all the people we have, every day is somebody else's 10-year mark. There's a reason, this is a fun fact, this is going to keep everybody wondering, and they're going to pay attention now. You will never see Lamborghini or Ferrari ever advertise on TV, because they secured their client when you and I were 6 years old and had a picture of a Lamborghini on our poster on the wall. They already know that we're going to go there when we're ready, if we're ever ready to buy a Lamborghini, and we're going to go buy it. They're not going to go and do a sign-and-drive commercial. They're not going to give you a 6 months maintenance package. In fact, even Mercedes will never advertise certain cars. They'll advertise C-classes, E-class, but you know why they'll never, ever advertise the S-class on TV? Ever. It's because that's their flagship model. It's prestige. Whoever wanted a car like that has thought about that for many years. You can't just convince somebody to go buy something for $200,000, $300,000 and thinking it's okay. You might get lucky, but that's not a strategy. So what I've been doing is strategically teaching these people that we were working with, whether it's home buyers, whether it's people that might want to buy a home in the future, whether it's now, 10 years from now, but we're giving them value and giving them the resources to say, hey, it's okay if you're not ready now. Take the education, and when you are, you're going to make an informative decision to get a much more lucrative outcome.
I love that because
that
I
too.
just got that DM literally like, I think it was yesterday. Somebody DM me like, oh, look, I'm looking to do possibly a refinance or, take a HELOC out. Like, what are the process? What are the steps? First off, that's the mortgage question. But I was like, look, he's like, I'm not ready for 2 or 3 years. I said, why don't you get the information now so you could prepare yourself for 2 or 3 years? I don't mind giving you the information to hook you up with the right individual. And he's like, you know what? I really appreciate that. Because then you're already set. You're already planning. You're already ahead of the game.
As you being a realtor and having that train of thought, that's amazing. And I'm telling you, I've encountered many realtors where I'm seeing people tell people to waive inspections. I'm telling people, because the reason is that they violate ethics when they are only one deal away from that financial catastrophe. At that point, many people will violate ethics. We'll tell people to waive inspections. We would do things that normally we wouldn't do if you maybe had business in 2021, right? In the last 2-3 years, there was no strategy needed to operate as a realtor or a lender.
It was so easy.
Dude, guys, rates were 2% and everybody was selling for 100,000 over.
Money was like free.
Right. And what I say, I've used the same example. And now, because of everything drying up, we need to actually have a strategy. So what I tell people, because I'm from Ukraine, obviously we just mentioned that earlier, I can make this reference. Imagine if the strategy was just to shoot a gun, even though you never shot it, and everybody's the enemy. You won. Everybody that you shoot, you got your actual mission accomplished. Now it's, hey, every single person's wearing the same exact thing. You have to now, in a split second, know who the enemy is and who a civilian is. But they're all wearing the same uniform. That now requires talent,
Skill.
strategy, skill. You don't know who to kill, if it's a civilian, if it's a bad person, if it's friendly fire. That's my point. Now people need a strategy, they need a game plan, and many realtors and many actual lenders don't have it. What I've seen both of you actually witness, and I'm not just saying it because I'm on the show. Again, we work in the same company. We work one office away from each other. I've seen you in the office many times. I know what you guys are doing at a very early age is something that I literally envy so much. Me being 39 and been in the business since 25, I didn't operate this way. In fact, I was taught sales, Wolf of Wall Street style, right? Buy or die. If they're not looking to buy, they either sold you or that's it, move on. And for me, I never got that because what if they wanted to buy in a week from now and not today? Like, that doesn't make me a bad person. Or what if I did convince them today? And I did. I've convinced many people, and I can admit this on the show. I've definitely pushed people to do things that I know that they probably weren't comfortable doing. Now, looking back at that, how do I fix the mistake? This is why this show specifically was very raw, because I don't hold back. I hold myself accountable. Many people don't hold themselves accountable, and that's why a lot of times they blame other people. Well, they listed because that realtor. No, they didn't do any of that stuff. You might have been the problem. So anything that I always take responsibility for, I make sure it makes me better in business and it makes me a better person in general, not just in business.
Hey, make sure you check us out at the realestateandchillpodcast.com. Buy your real estate merch now. Real estate merch with swag. A brand for hustlers only. Let's go!
Taking responsibility.
Let me ask you this one question. So, what was the hardest adversity you've had to go through in life so far? Like, what do you think has shaped Dimitri into the person he is today?
So I know this show is not going to be for 4 days and 16 hours, so we don't have that kind of time. But all seriousness, guys, I think, and this is not a feel sorry for me kind of story. If you guys go into my TikTok, you'll be able to see a lot more info about it, more info that I would put on Facebook or any other social media platform. It was the adversity of growing up. It was the decisions that I made, the bad decisions that I made. Again, whatever decisions I made, I don't regret. In fact, I wouldn't be in this business if I didn't go to jail for 37 months. As a teenager, missing my prom, missing my graduation, missing all my high school years, the best years of my life. If I wasn't going through all the adversity that I had, I've been through a lot of emotional problems, physical abuse, sexual abuse. I've been through mental torture. I've seen my mother be mentally tortured, physically tortured. I've seen every little thing for me to be able to shape, because there's only two outcomes. It's either you're going to go off the rails and become a sociopath, or you're going to take every little piece of adversity you had and mold it to become a very powerful human being. So what I did is I took everything that I've went through, whether it was being homeless, whether it was being in jail by making very bad decisions as a teenager, whether it was any form of adversity, I made sure that I'm going to go and take it and mold it to actually help people. I actually entered in the mortgage business due to a phone call that I got from somebody I was away with. So when I was in jail, a guy called me after we got out, and he goes, Dimitri, I do mortgages. What are you doing? I go, I'm going to think about going to law school. He goes, why don't you try to do this cold calling thing for the summer and see if you like it? I said, I don't know anything about mortgages, but let's go ahead and let's try it out. It's a summer job, no problem. It was the best summer job I ever took because I never looked back 17 years later. I knew that this was my calling, and had I not went to jail and went through that adversity, I would have never met the person that brought me into this mortgage business. So shout out to Ben Marino. God rest his soul. He's no longer with us. He was a dear friend since I was 15 years old, but because of him, I literally entered a business that changed my entire life.
Wow, that's amazing. So let's go into another side of it, which is the social media presence that you have, that you've been building up. You know, your branding that you've been talking about is shown. You have the biggest Facebook groups for first-time home buyers. How is it running something of that size? Because, listen, I hear you on the phone. It's 24/7. If you step into Cliffco at 10:30 at night, you're going to see two people. You're going to see James and you're going to see Dimitri right next to each other. Like, because we always, like, we're the last ones out every single day. Like,
There's no lie. You're
together,
so
like,
right there with me. Yeah.
I love it.
I love it. 100%. You're always hustling. You know what I've said to you, and I said this to you yesterday, why I respected you. At a very early age, you have hustle as if you had 3 children and you were facing like some kind of homelessness yourself, which I know is not the case. Your hustle is so real that it's not even fake. A lot of lenders, a lot of realtors, they become actors in this business, right? They do things that normally they wouldn't do themselves. They act a certain way that they don't act with their family or friends. James is and I've seen you as well, you're very real. And that's why I said, I'm coming to this podcast. These aren't fake people. Like, I've gotten to know you very well. I've seen you in the office, of course, a couple times. We'll get to know each other as time goes on. But I know real people, and I only deal with real people. So I love that about you.
No, I appreciate it. Like,
huge shout out to you.
I think that's why we get along so well.
No, amazing. 100%. 100%. When I see people that really do things for selflessness reasons, that's huge to me. And I see you do this all the time. You take the time for phone calls. You take the time for your clients, and that's amazing. In regards to how I run it all, it's not easy, man.
Yeah, I can imagine.
18 hours a day. 18
we got
hours.
one platform, and this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
So
way too
10
much.
more of these, I don't know.
I do have a great moderator. Shout out to Shamaka for really helping me out. I know she's done a very good job for being able to moderate the group. But aside from that, really, it's just myself that's in there for 18 hours a day. I respond to every comment that was posted towards me with a video. So shout out to anybody who does go on video to do these things. One little quick tip that's going to make you a lot of money. Stop responding via text to any comment. Start using video. If you're camera shy, get over it. No one cares except you. Start building the actual brand in person. So if they can't actually meet you in the middle of California because you're in New York, they will get to know you very well when you're doing a video comment. Every comment that I respond to is done in video. But here's the key word. When somebody asks a question, I just respond to it. I don't sit there and say, hit me up. I'm from Keller Williams. Hit me up. I'm a Cliffco mortgage banker. I literally just answer the question, and that's what a lot of people fail to do, and that's why a lot of Facebook groups don't take off. People will leave. Right? They're coming there to ask a question. They don't want to be solicited. They don't want to be just, talked to by a bunch of lenders and realtors. They might not be ready for that yet. In fact, they didn't even ask, is there any lenders I could talk to? They only asked you maybe what the difference between a home inspection and a radon inspection is. And all of a sudden you're getting 55 people saying, I'm from Keller, I'm from Exit, I can help you. Or do this or do, that's not what they asked. So I always stick to what the questions are, and that's the kind of outpour of support I get from my group members. They go, I respect that you're not soliciting. I respect that you only answered my question and didn't follow through with, well, call me if you need any help. Or I could do this for you. I don't do that. At this point, I'm only there to support people because there is no other group on Facebook, because I own 92% of any other home buying groups. But I know that the only other group that is out there that I'm not part of, they do no daily lives, they don't respond to anybody, and they charge realtors and lenders to be there. So really, it becomes fake because these people are only being the best versions of themselves because they're paying a service to be there. They know that if they didn't do a good job, they'd be kicked out. For me, I have a lot to lose or a lot to win. I have a lot to lose if I do a pre-approval the wrong way. I have a lot to lose if group members don't get value and they leave the group. But I have a lot to win if I spend 18, 19 hours a day doing what I do. I have a lot to win if I pre-approve people the right way and they write amazing testimonials. I have a lot to win if I close deals the right way, right? Because now one person closes, I have 66,000 people in one group. We have 200,000 in another. Like it all adds up. And it's across all channels, we have over 1 million people. So we have 7 figures.
That's what I was going to ask you. I was like, how many people
crazy.
are in
It's
these?
a lot. It's a lot to manage. But the good thing is I am getting help. Shout out to the realtors and the lenders that are not soliciting that are in the group. I had to remove a lot of people because they couldn't follow the simple group rules. But there is a lot of professionals in there that are providing value and actually answering questions. And in return, getting business out of it because I support the people that actually follow the rules. I'll make sure, hey, go to James for a loan. Make sure you go to Kevin to go get a piece of property. And I know that my reputation backs it up. So if I'm referring it, it's as good as gold.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, that's crazy. 1 million people on all these groups. That's a lot.
Yep.
And one thing that I really like about what you said as well is the pressure side of it. Because I feel like, people put a lot of pressure on home buyers. I was on the phone with somebody yesterday who literally, I was on the phone with her for a half an hour. She's a first-time home buyer. She had a bunch of questions. She just wanted to know what was going on. I was explaining the whole process, everything like that, right? And then at the end, she was just telling me, she was like, hey, you know what I really appreciate? I really appreciate you not pressuring me because she was 24 years old, just like me, and she was new to the home buying process. And she's just trying to figure it out. But I told her at the end of it, I was like, listen, you're 24, you're trying to figure it out, you don't know exactly what you want to do yet, you need to figure out your financial situation, so I'm not going to force you to do anything. Like, it's all up to you. Go speak to your parents. You want to speak to your parents? Well, I was like, go talk to your parents, let me know if they have any questions, and she just really appreciated it. And at that point, I already knew, like, that relationship's already solidified. That's it. That's all it takes. Like, they know it. People know when you're putting pressure on them.
1,000,000%. The thing is that you are 100% authentic, and that's the reason why it works for you. On top of that, you have a lot of business. When you have a lot of business, you could easily be able to say, look, you need some time to do this, that, and the third, and come back to me, and we're going to be able to communicate, stay in touch, and then you'll be in a better position in a few months. A lot of these agents, a lot of these lenders, they might not even have any deals. So when they do have that one deal, even if the person is living at home and they're in the best situation, they're actually convincing him, yeah, go start getting bills, definitely take on a $3,000 mortgage payment, you should be a homeowner, and they're doing it for selfish reasons. They need to get paid. Instead of learning how to get maybe a lot more people in front of them, providing that value, now within a second, they can be able to actually guide people the right way, but focusing on how to actually speak to the people that want to buy a house now. What I do with lead generation in these groups also is I could decipher between who's looking to buy a home today compared to who's not ready. If you're not ready, please go to the group and you'll get immense value. But I know how to reverse engineer through AI intelligence of who wants to actually buy right now. So that way, a lot of people don't realize what order of importance they should be focusing on, right? If you have 10 names, maybe the second name is more important than the ninth. Why is that ninth person in one order compared to another? Right? A lot of people are not organized with that. It's the same thing with trying to get business. So if you're only able to use Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or TikTok as a lead generation platform, whether it's organic or paid, we got to break down how to find the clients that are looking to buy a home now while being able to educate and nurture the ones that are not looking, maybe for a few months or even a few years. And that's okay. We're not going anywhere. James, you're in this business. You're probably going to stay for a while. You're going to have a very successful career. Wouldn't you love a person in 4 years to call you and say, hey, based on information you provided in 2023, I'm looking to buy a home now?
100%. And on top of that, that same client, when you build a relationship with them, is a brand new referral source.
Absolutely.
In those 4 years, you'll get more people who they know who they're going to be like, oh, I spoke to Dimitri, I spoke to Kevin, and they were great. You should give them a call. Like, they're really good at what they do.
Yep.
That's all you need.
And that's amazing. And that's what it is. It's not rocket science. That's why what we've also been involved with, me and my partner on the lead generation side, is launching our real estate university and launching our first ever loan officer university.
Yeah, I want to dive into that also.
Yeah, that's going to be huge because I feel like in the last 17 years, have I accomplished every little thing in the mortgage business? No, nobody's going to really say that unless you're top one and that's it. I want to be able to kind of transform, now that I'll be 40 next month, into not always just originating, having that on the back burner, but being able to teach people best practices, taking every mistake that I've actually done in the last 17 years, adding that with all the good stuff that I've done, and being able to launch a bulletproof system where people are getting deals today, tomorrow, and 6 months from now. How many realtors can say that after 30 years they can retire and they're still getting monthly checks every month from the brokerage? You can't. Once they stop selling, the checks stop coming. We're going to build a business where in 30, 40 years, people could retire and still get the same money as if they were actively selling every day. And it's not retention, it's not pyramid schemes. It's you're building up an actual model where deals are going to come in even when you're not working anymore. And that's huge, whether it's a team that's going to take over it, whatever the case may be. But a lot of people just don't know how to go and say, hey, this is a new month. Where's my next business coming from? So the comment that I made, I don't know where my next deal is coming from, I said it for a reason. It could be 16 phone calls that are happening while we're actually on the air right now. It could be the 34 emails that I woke up to. It could be the 65 texts and the 19 Facebook messages of people wanting a link to apply to a mortgage. So for me, that's when I meant I don't know where my next deal is coming from. Not like literally we don't have any deals. So when you know how to be able to strategize and have just an army of people either trying to give you business or somehow inadvertently speaking to you about doing business, it becomes easier than trying to chase one listing or one buyer as a lender. It's a very different model. And you start to actually present yourself different when you know that you're not desperate for money.
That's 100% true. Because being at the stage of my career, I can honestly turn down business because you meet people all the time that, hey, look, our personality is not going to work. Yeah. Maybe I'm not the best option for you. Mm-hmm. Somebody on my team, they could mend and blend really, really well. But there comes a that luxury when you get into business, certain experience, certain success, that you're like, you know what, maybe this isn't for me.
Right.
So I could agree with that. You get to pick and choose your business.
And I also think that one other thing that you said just now that I really liked is, talking about investing in yourself. Because I really do feel like before you buy real estate, before you buy stocks, before you buy anything, the first thing you should invest in is yourself. Put time and effort into what you're doing and make sure that you're a master of the craft, which is something that you're trying to accomplish with other people, right? So you're trying to help other people invest in themselves, which I think is a really good idea because you've went through it, you've learned it, you know what works, what doesn't work, right? Your 17 years of experience could help somebody who's a year in and bring them to the experience that they're 10 years in. I feel like that's a very, very important part. Like having a mentor like you, Kevin, you mentor a lot of people, right? You share your knowledge, you share everything. Everyone should always invest in themselves first before you invest in anything else.
There should have been a mic drop on that whole statement. That's 100% correct, and I'll tell you why. In 2019, when everybody started going into refis and there was $1 million refi boom, I actually took a step back and invested a lot of money in just myself. I invested in courses to be able to generate leads, being able to generate buyers, being able to generate sellers, being able to have a whole system to be able to cultivate another 10, 15 years in this business. So when many people were just doing refinances, neglecting realtors, this is the one lender right here, James, that was actually always attentive to their agents. No matter how many refis, he was always there for his realtors, where a lot of the realtors were getting neglected. So personal growth is huge because it's actually going to carry into your business. So for me, I worked on myself in 2019. That was the year that I lost my father. That was the year. Thank you, guys. The last thing he said a week before he died, you got to buy this house next door to your mother. It was on the cliff overlooking Manhattan, Hoboken. I bought the whole street. There was 3 houses on the street. I bought it in his memory.
That's baller.
I had to. And I tried to name it Kievsky Way, but the town, I got to say, shout out to Union City Mayor Brian Stocks for allowing me to rename it Kievsky Way. That was amazing. We tried to do it. They said no, and they actually allowed it. So I do have a street after me.
That's amazing.
So that was a huge, thank you. That was a huge accomplishment for me. That was my father's wish for me to buy the property right next door to him, and it was a 4-family investment, and we did very well with that. But at the end of the day, it was personal growth that got me there. If I didn't find out who Dimitri was, if I didn't find out what my value and purpose was to my clients, my referral partners, I wouldn't be able to be in this situation right now. The group didn't just grow overnight because at the end of the day, anybody can open up a group. But to sustain it, to try to grow it, to try to have that discipline and repetition, a lot of people don't have it. For me, it's a very religious thing of what I do. I wake up at 5. I don't go to bed till 1. Usually I'm in the office, like you said, until 10, 11 o'clock with you, but I will literally
there later than that.
Yeah, I'll do videos at 1 in the morning.
He's been in there since 2 in the morning before.
Easily.
This guy's crazy.
Easily. But I have to do something that's going to separate myself from the competition, and it's work ethic. See, a lot of people think it takes a lot of money to separate yourself. This is all free, guys. Facebook is free. Me providing just a quick video response on my phone, well, the phone costed me money, but after I paid the phone off, it's free. Me coming to work and having that discipline is free. However, what keeps me going is remembering my past. Now, a lot of people don't have to have the same story as me. Some people grew up in a beautiful home, 9 to 5, their parents worked, they played Monopoly, did their homework, went to bed, and there was a white picket fence. Unfortunately, that wasn't my narrative. And I was able to take all those trials and tribulations and be able to turn it into something so powerful where I even hold myself accountable, right? Discipline. So when I was in jail, it wasn't like, oh man, they got me, I can't believe they did this to me. I made a bad action. I have consequences, and now I'm able to actually take the same mentality into my business. You signed a contract and you want to get out of it. There's consequences. I do that with my kids. You did something wrong. You're not getting allowance this week. There's consequences, right? So everything that I went through in my life, I made sure I kind of can relate that into business, and that's usually where the content I get for social media comes from. Anything on the whim. So if I think of something, if there was a mistake that was made, if a buyer made a wrong move, if I made a wrong move, whatever it is, I always make it into content so that way other people have awareness to it.
No, I love that. Honestly, Dimitri, hats off to you. You've become
Much
so
respect.
fun.
Yes,
Thank you,
much
guys.
respect.
Thank you. It means a lot.
And you're still so young, so I'm excited to see what you do. Like, I know I say that as 24, but as you know, you're not old. Even though I'm calling you old as a joke. But
I know the office joke is that I'm the old man and I should get the reverse mortgage coming up. I get it. But everyone jokes. I felt so embarrassed. I thought everybody was like similar to my age. Maybe not 39, but I thought they were in their 30s. I'm like, am I the only one that's about to be in my 40s here? Like, I felt very old. I'm that guy now. But it's okay. Yes, I have a young spirit and you guys keep me young. That's for sure.
yeah, 100%. But Dimitri, is there anything you want to leave anybody off on? Any realtor, any lender, any first-time homebuyer who's watching this? Is there anything you want to leave to them before we end off?
A couple things. Number one, I think what you guys specifically too are doing, and again, if anybody thinks that everybody knows me, that does know me, knows that I'm very raw. I originate loans. So if anybody, I would say, hey guys, call me for a mortgage. What you guys are doing is so remarkable at the age group that you're in right now. And the hustle that you guys have and the value that I've seen that you provide and the value that I've seen you guys actually collaborate with, I want everybody to know that these are the people that are going to be in your corner to be able to take your actual business to the next level. James knows exactly how to create and cultivate relationships and how to execute on those relationships where people are making money. I know Kevin has so many things up his sleeve because I've seen it through James in regards to how to collaborate. So you have a realtor and a lender that now are able to provide extensive value to anybody that they're working with, whether it's a buyer, whether it's a referral partner, whether it's a realtor. No matter what, you guys need to work with James. You need to work with Kevin. I've never seen experts literally the way that I've seen these two operate. In regards to what I do to the people that I work with as first-time home buyers, I value each and every single one of them. I know that they know that. I show my appreciation to them. Without them, this group would never, or groups would never even be made possible. But I think that people really need to realize that this is real, especially your colleagues, Kevin, and your colleagues, James. People need to put the egos down and start to realize that what you're doing is working and it's generating, more importantly than revenue, it's generating a brand for you guys. So kudos to you guys. Shout out to you. Obviously, this podcast has really taken off. A lot of the projects that you guys have taken off, it seems like every single week on Instagram, there's another event that James is hosting. There's another event that Kevin is doing. And that is literally amazing.
Join Dimitri's group. Like, don't solicit, obviously, as you heard him say. But if you have a lot of like mortgage questions, because you really do answer all of these videos like in person. So like when somebody has a question, he responds to it with a video. So these are common questions that you're going to see throughout the mortgage process or throughout the home buying process. And if you just want to learn more, just join the group and just watch what Dimitri's saying about these different things, because you're going to learn a bunch.
Yeah, and I'll help you guys. And anybody that's working with James right now or Kevin, if you guys want any tutorials, one-on-one, this is free of charge. I'll be able to help you guys so that way you guys can have another game plan, another course of action, whether it's lead generation, whether it's other ways to be able to reach out organically. There's other ways that I can actually show you guys to be very successful on a lot of these social media sites, specifically Facebook, where we're seeing stats that are going through the roof. And at least that way you guys know it works, and it's another tool in your arsenal.
No, we appreciate it. Thank you so much, Dimitri.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for
Follow him.
having me.
Follow us on the Real Estate and Chill podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Real Estate and Chill podcast with James Chaudhry and Kevin Iglesias. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, share this with your friends, your enemies, your mother-in-law. No, seriously, this podcast is so fucking good, you might want to tell your ex.